strongest thing to do is to do some magic, like this fellow who asked, right? Do some magic, maybe panic, pull out the color changing deck, and then go into it as a nice closer, a nice follow-up, right? Because it's real cool, it's real powerful. And panic is, it's a good closer, but it really sets you up for a roundhouse. Is one of those great things that panic does. Because not only is the deck gone, but you've just switched it out without calling any suspicion to the deck in the first place, which is particularly, you know, an awesome, fortuitous situation. So now, here's one of the things that people do when they do the color changing deck. They shuffle, they shuffle, they shuffle, they shuffle, and then they sort of just do this as a display. But that's not what Vernon had. This wonderful thing Vernon did was he said, look, each card is different. That's the 2 of diamonds. That's the Jack of spades. You could pick the Jack of spades. Here, you want another one. You can have the 7 of hearts. So once again, I'm not saying clean. I'm pointing to this other thing. So when you say stop, there it is. We'll do it again. And all this time, this is Vernon, we are giving you retinal pictures that resonate later. That's why it's important that you keep doing it. It's those pictures again. And there it is. Now, I drop this on top, and I just drop 1 card off the break and cut the deck, like that. Do not, at this point, flash. Do not. Oh, a joker, I'll use this joker. And I take this card, I turn it over, I riffle down 1 card, and I stick it in. And yeah, it's right up near the top. It's totally a discrepancy, and I love it. I've been working with different handlings of this trick for over a year, or 2 at this point, and I have to say, this is by far my favorite solution. So now, 1 changes, 2 changes, they're reacting to that, I push this in, and I put this on the bottom, and I flip it over. Now we're ready for the actual machine change. I push that, that's a real bevel there, and then I keep pushing, and look at that wonderful display there. Now I drag back, and look at my second finger. Second finger's there, the first finger comes down there, and then we get that fake bevel turning into real bevels. So that's real depth at the front. Also, now, all I have to do is that, and there's my double turnover, 1 double turnover. No one even sees that it's a mandolin. They're so busy shocked at the color change. There's the real joker, and once again, perfect example. Yeah, it's not in the same place where you put it in, but the picture is the same. That's all that they really care about. And if you start applying this to their magic, you're going to find that a lot of mysteries that have been plaguing you, a lot of ghosts in the machine, why didn't that work? Was you trying to protect the method without creating the picture? The picture's what they care about, right? So here we are, I spread through, I do a little push off there, this is for the reset really, now that's there. Now, this was the important part, and this was the thing that took machines so long to come together, was I had to figure out how to get this moment back, which adding my little gaff to it really complicated things. But I'll tell you what, this is what makes the Vernon trick awesome, is that moment. When that happens, you leave the audience with a question, that one last solution. Oh, if only the joker. Wow, I couldn't do the joker. That was amazing. Well, I couldn't do the joker. But I did, fools! And they, screw it. That was awesome. But they're not saying, let me see those cards. They feel complete. If they feel satisfied and complete, if there's a sense of wholeness to what just happened, no one goes, let me see the cards. Right? They just go, that was awesome. And that's where you want it to be. And this handling, which is different than the one that the DVD came with, the DVD came with one where you can pass out the cards. Because we as magicians think we need to feel clean. But for my own personal work, I would rather them feel clean and have me be dirty. Right? Because how many times have y'all done a trick where you didn't do any moves, where it was totally self-working, where it was totally cool? You just did it, maybe you riffled a few times because that's what you do, that's your habit, right? And then after it was over, you did this beautiful self-working trick, and they said, man, you did all that sleight of hand. It was perfectly clean, and they thought it was dirty. So you can do that in the opposite direction. It can be totally dirty and feel wonderful and clean and full, and then you're going to be completely let off the hook. So at this point, you say, what happened here? Is this still here? Oh, there it is. Oh, that's groovy. Here we go. That's here. That's the moment. Everyone goes, bam! He got me! That goes here. I leave. I turn that face up. I riffle that 10 cards down. I milk the top and bottom off. And this thing goes back in my pocket. It's ready for the next set. And so that's machine. How you doing over there on the internet, Dan?
Awesome. We have a personal question.
Boxer briefs.
No more pants, please.
Enough with the pants already.
No, they're asking about grooming here. How do they go about growing a beard?
Hey, yeah, I was here grooming. I was like, what makes you think you should be asking me anything about grooming? Really? If you guys figured out that's not my whole trip.
I wouldn't ask you this question. I would never ask how do I grow a beard. But the person that wrote it,
you have to be at least 17.
Is named Rosemary. So I had to ask.
How do you grow a beard? Well,
let's move on, shall we?
First, you get real lazy-like. Thank you, Rosemary. Thank you.
Oh,
any real questions?
Yeah, a friend of yours wrote in here. Jonathan Molo says hi. So, and also he's.
And congratulations to Jonathan on your impending nuptials. Let's hear it for Jonathan. All right. Okay, we're doing pretty good here.
He does ask a question that I do want to get into. If now's a good time, that's cool.
Now's a good time for everything.
How does flourishing fit into magic, or does it? Somebody else asked. It's still him. Asking about riffles, dribbles, and flourishes in between the tricks. It's really common.
First of all, I sort of have to say there's like a role that I play in magic a little bit, because I was very fortunate enough to get mentorship from some of the, the masters of the last century, and many of whom aren't really here anymore. And one of the things about our wonderful internet world that we live in, where there's all this information is available, well, if Vernon's not here to do a lecture for you on Sunday night, no one's going to tell you how he would feel about anything. And so one of the interesting things about me getting the chance to work with and study from some of those masters is that I feel like I can at least articulate what they were trying to share with you. And I think it's important to understand what they were trying to share with you, because if you want to stay in magic and have it continue to grow in your heart and your mind and in your skill over that first blush of a few years of it, your understanding of it's got to deepen and strengthen and become more powerful and finished. And so I think it's important to say from my perspective where flourishes fit into that. So the short answer is I don't think flourishes are all bad in any way. I think that everything's got its time and place. And there are times when I will even knock one or two out in a table if I see I don't necessarily have everyone's attention, or sometimes people are just, off in their own little world, and you need to find some way to interrupt the pattern. And at some point, a flourish can be handy for that. I do think, however, that as we first get into magic, we're really just trying to learn some skills, and what says skill like a flourish? What could be more skillful overtly than a flourish? And I think what often happens for a lot of people, now I don't think this applies for everybody, and you have to test what I'm saying in your own experience, in your own act, because there are no rules in art, right? Just guidelines and principle. But what I think a lot of people experience, and what I experienced, was that when I first started to be able to do a little flourish, people went, ooh, Aaron, wow, that 16th birthday, you picked up magic, and now you're 17, and you're getting somewhere, kid. And everybody watch Aaron, he's going to do some magic. And what I discovered after my tolerance was built up, you can't tell. After a while, you go, are they not responding as strong as they used to? Or is it that I'm needing more responses than I'm getting and they're not improving? Right? And I know you know that feeling. What makes us happy as a response 1 week, 2 weeks later is like, I need more poop out of this response from the audience. Well, I think what ends up happening is when we start going in for the flourishes early, oftentimes what we're doing is we're putting a horizon on the level of mystery that the audience is willing to accept from us. So in exchange for our buy-in into the group, hey, Aaron can do a couple of those things, well, now they start saying, wow, okay, we're watching you. Yeah, you're fast with those hands. And you can almost see them start to lose interest a couple minutes later, and you've become like a cocktail weenie. And when the cocktail weenie is consumed,